Alright, so the following clip is a call recording pulled from our Done With You Mastermind. We changed the call time so the attendance was quite low, which is why I wanted to publish this as its own video. However, we went through sales and acquisition, improving offers, client fulfillment, and how to improve client results and ultimately decrease churn. How to create a consistent high volume of new ad creatives each and every week for your paid ads. How to make decisions with your paid ads, and a ton more. Now, if you're interested in joining this group, there's a link in the description. You can watch the video on the next page where I kind of explain a bit more about how it works. And then there'll be an option for you to be able to book in a call directly with me, and essentially on that call I'll just walk you through what I would do if I owned your business. I would show you exactly step by step how to go from wherever you're currently at to wherever you want to go, and again how I would approach it. And of course, if you're then interested in working deeper with me one-on-one, you can go ahead and join. If not, you don't need to, that's fine. You can just take what we go through on the call and go ahead and implement it. So that link's in the description below, and apart from that, enjoy.
Jake, you're up, dude.
Hi, bro. How's it going, man? You good?
Good, dude. How are you?
Really good, bro. Got some wins to share, bro. My close yesterday closed two 10K paying fulls USD. So
Oh, very nice.
super nice there. Yeah. But yeah, so coming into the end of the month, we might hit that goal that we set in our onboarding call, which is really nice.
Yeah,
Um,
nice, dude. What caused that? Or what do you think caused that? Like, what changed?
um, Honestly, bro, the quality difference
Mm.
in the calls has been insane recently. Obviously the schedule and then the USD payments, bro. Like that has honestly changed the amount of
Mm.
cash we can collect into, bro. Like it's made massive difference. Um, because yeah, we're literally only charging USD now, and that's been really good. But
Yeah,
yeah, my close has just been,
nice.
and obviously call reviews and stuff like that. It's been really good, but no, overall, bro, things have been really, really good. And then I launched a new campaign uh yesterday, and it's already gotten like four qualified bookings at like um 25 $30 per booking, which is really, really good.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so thanks a lot for the help.
Yeah.
um
No worries.
my main question today, we've got two clients both in the same industry. um it's kind of like general home improvement or like remodeling, and the problem is they're both in the US based, and their lead flow has just been majority Spanish speakers. So I just wanted to see kind of if you guys have had that and how to kind of overcome that, because we've looked at the numbers and it'll be like if they get 10 leads, six of them will be just Spanish speakers. So I want to see kind of what you think to do for that.
Yeah, we have had this. I can't remember how we solved. I can't remember the specific thing we did, but we have had it. Fuck, I can't remember what we did for that. If you want to post in the group, in the Scale Clients group, about that, I'll get Fidel to respond because I could say some stuff, but I remember specifically we had this issue. I think we may have even tried a different pixel. I'm pretty sure that was part of the solution. But yeah, if you just want to post in that group, I'll get Fidel to respond.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll thinking of doing the pixel in terms of trying to filter them out in a way if that was possible, but also just a lead form that's more qualified and has English questions. Because in my head, I'm like, well, if the questions are like, on the lead form, we got like three questions on there all in English, that would kind of filter them out, right? So that's what we're thinking as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I would assume that's already the case, right? Whether the English.
Well, yeah, but we only have like one qualifying question.
Oh,
So
I
on
see.
the
Just
lead
add more
form, we're
friction.
thinking of just adding, yeah, more friction, like three
One
to
of the
four
other things,
questions.
are you targeting English only?
Yeah,
Like English speaking only as the language?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was the other thing. But yeah, that's fine. As I say, just make that post because we have had this. It's common, especially in home services in the US. Like that, I'm pretty sure that's exactly where we had the last one.
Yeah, okay. Because that's honestly just been like, a bit annoying for the clients. But cool. Okay, and then another question. So we've got a client in the solar niche, and his cost per call is around $20 so now, so it's really good. The main problem the client's having though, and it's a bit of a common one, but it's when he's hopping on the calls with them, a lot of the people in solar and this is definitely a sales thing, but I just want to get your answer on this and see if you've dealt with this. A lot of people in solar are already very sold on just commission basis, right? So really only getting appointments, on a commission basis or only paying per close. And
Mm.
obviously the client isn't the most experienced in terms of sales, and that's okay. But how would you overcome when, like all the calls he's taking, even though he's getting a really good cost per call and the metrics look really good, when he's hopping on the calls, they're like honestly like expecting a commission basis and they're not wanting anything apart from commission.
The customers, right?
Yeah, the actual the solar companies. Yeah.
Is there a reason why your client doesn't offer that?
Well, the main reason is because he has a white label. So I think he would go like he couldn't
I need to pay it from.
it wouldn't, yeah, the margins wouldn't make sense.
Mm. And these are like qualified leads still, right?
Yeah, it's like solar companies like with like 4 to 5 employees too, so they're like established.
Well, there's really two options. Either he figures out a way to actually sell it, which is probably going to be the easiest thing, or you say I couldn't tell you the wording, but like, you would just put something in the funnel before the booking to set the expectation. But that would drive, obviously, as you know, that would drive up your costs a lot. So it depends. You just kind of got to figure out what your which one you're going to be more net positive with.
So are you kind of saying to just like, if that's what they're asking for, to just give them what they're asking in a way, if possible?
Well, I'm saying that's one option. Yeah. And then the other option, like I said, is going to be to tell them before the call that it's not commission only.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, obviously, if it's only a couple clients, totally fine. Like, we get that too. So it's not that big
Yeah.
of a deal. But no, it's like every single call. And it's like, we've
So that's
obviously
what I
done
mean.
before
So like
reviews.
that's why, yeah,
Yeah.
like normally if it, my thing on that, if it's just a couple you cancel, whatever. But yeah, if it's every single call and they are qualified to, if it's every single unqualified call asking for commission or a split or pay on results or whatever, then yeah, that's typical. But if they're genuinely qualified, perfect clients, but they all want commission only, I would be inclined to figure out how to sell them that. Because I'm sure if he was to look at all of those clients who he hasn't closed who wanted the commission structure, he probably could have closed. I mean, you could tell me, but what, 10, 15, 20 clients, even 5 clients. And then if you put that on his CPA and look at that, his CPA would be off the charts.
Yeah. No, that actually might make sense. I'm just thinking it's literally only because he's a white label. So I just don't know how it would work with that because he's not obviously fulfilling for them. But
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you'd have to figure something out there. Either he strikes a deal with a white label agency or brings it in house. I mean, it's not that hard to run solo ads, get solo leads.
no, 100% easy.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna make that post in school for the Spanish thing because that's
Yeah.
honestly just like the main thing right now. I think because we've been dealing with that for like a week now, and we've
Yeah, I'll
tried it
tag
a
Fidel.
lot. So I'll be interested. I'm
I'll
interested
tag.
to see kind of what the go is there. But
Yeah.
no, sweet. I mean, that's kind of it for now, bro.
Cool,
Thanks
man.
for the help, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, dude. Great stuff. Great work. Krishna.
Hey, hey, Kai. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. I launched the campaigns, although for some reason, I don't know if Facebook has a personal issue with me. I allow them, I give them my credit card, but they still don't want to spend. So they take like 3 days to spend what should be spent in a day. Uh, I'm not sure if there's something that can be done about it, because this has happened in past as well. But I just
Mm.
wanted to, since it has spent so low, like I just wanted to give you a quick number info. So instead of relaunching the campaigns at $100 a day, I had a previous campaign which I had shut off because the performance wasn't coming, and I just tried relaunching it. And right now it has only spent like 40 USD right now, and has got one call booked automatically and one which I booked from like a cold call to the lead. So
Mm.
I think I'm not looking at any CPM metrics now, because I remember you mentioning that within the start of the campaign, we often look at the CPM numbers being high. But since the call has come through, is it right to assume that I should be
Yeah.
avoiding the previous metrics?
Yeah, exactly. You only ever want to look at the last metric in the funnel that you have data on.
Okay, yeah. So I think I'll just give this more time and keep you posted on what happens in like a week. I have set it at 100 a day to spend, and I launch the six-figure call out campaign by tomorrow as well. But I had a question around like the turnaround time with ROI. So I noticed this campaign at 100 a day, which I had shut off about a month prior to like a month back. It did not seem to be getting an ROI, but I did end up getting a person who booked in a later call, got rescheduled, and then eventually went on like a little payment plan before I got an ROI from it. So I've noticed this pattern with my previous campaign as well, where the turnaround time for the ROI to come through is quite a lot. And I think you mentioned on a previous call where you look at it from like daily basis, where this is what we spent and this is what we got back. Maybe those are the numbers that how you look at it on when you're at a scale. But for me, it seems to be like the turnaround time is just so high for me to make a decision on the ads instantly.
Well, it's important to note that when I talk about we spent this much today, close this much, that close was never from today's ad spend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean
Yeah.
more of like since because the time is so high between when I get the ROI and when I spend, it's hard to make a decision based on today's metrics, is what I mean.
Well, you really only ever want to make a decision. Well, at least with me and our campaigns, I primarily only make a decision on our campaigns based on cost per qualified call. Very rarely I make a decision on CPA because at least in our ad account, I've never had it where if the cost per call is really high, the CPA is great. Which, if that was the case, like you do have some campaigns where cost per call is very high, but your CPA is cheap, for example, because all the calls are like extremely qualified and they all close. If you had that, then sure, yeah, I would make my decision based on CPA. But at least in our ad account, that's never the case. Like our cheapest cost per call campaigns are our cheapest CPA campaigns. Our most expensive cost per call campaigns are our most expensive CPA campaigns, right? So in that case, I don't need to wait for the CPA. I could use the cost per qualified per call almost as a proxy metric for future CPA. So that's what I always make my decisions on. So in your case, you don't like I wouldn't really worry about from a decision standpoint in the ad account. I wouldn't worry about the turnaround time or the length, between the call and the sale. I would worry about the sales cycle is really what you're referring to. I would worry about that from a scaling perspective and a cash flow perspective and a payback period perspective, because that's obviously going to impact your ability to scale in terms of how cash flow positive you are and how long, as I say, the payback period is, or how short ideally the payback period is. But yeah, long story short, looking at specifically your campaigns and making decisions on your campaigns, you don't need to worry. Or personally, I don't look at our CPA to make decisions on campaigns. I just look at the cost per qualified call, which you said they spent 40, got 20, two calls at 20 each. I mean, you're fine.
Okay. And secondly, with the campaigns, since I'm working on new creatives to test out as well with the same broad audience, I land in a situation where I want to stick as close to the templates provided by you because they have worked for me and they are the ones which are running right now. But when you try to add a little more variation, I don't know if I'm like a beginner at copywriting with this, but it often breaks away from the format which we strictly want to follow. So how do you look at like creative testing? Should I go broad and test like images as well, or should I just stick to videos, but in videos follow a similar format and just try to get a different hook around? Like just I think you had mentioned like back in the day where you just change the hook, so like three hooks and three bodies, and just shuffle them around as an example. So I don't know how you look at it and how do you get creative ideas to still fall in the same frame, but like you start out with a strong call out, then you have results in one place, or maybe you switch it around and you have results at start and then you make the call out.
Yeah, well, so this speaks to in the training, obviously I have frameworks and templates and whatnot, but I only have that really just to make it easier, honestly. I mean, when I write ads though, I'm always thinking about the outcomes of my copy, not necessarily okay, I need to use like this template or this framework or whatever it is, right? So what I mean by that, basically, you just said there, perfect example of this, an easy example of this is like, oh, should I have a call out? Start with a strong call out and then go into results and then go into this. Well, here's the thing. Most people think about a call out in the form of, to use me as an example, coaches and consultants above 25K a month, right? Like everyone thinks of a call out as that. And sure, that's one version of a call out. But I would tell you another version of a call out is one of our ads that are running right now. It's something to the effect of like my marketing agency went from 40 clients, went from 40 clients to 140 clients or something like that in a certain time frame. That is just as much of a call out as marketing agencies above 25K a month. Why? Because I'm saying my marketing agency, so who's going to be interested in that? Other marketing agencies. And then by the very nature of me saying goes from 40 clients to whatever the other number was that I said in the ad at the time. This was an ad I recorded like 2 years ago. But my point is, by the very nature of me saying from 40 clients to X clients, that call that yes, it doesn't say 25K a month, but it resonates with somebody who's significantly bigger than a beginner marketing agency, which is the same exact reason why we say marketing agency above 25K a month, because we don't want guys at the beginner level joining or booking a call with us, right? So
Yeah.
that's just as much of a call out. So when it comes to variations, that's how you need to be thinking. Not, oh, I need to start it with marketing agency above 25K a month. Then what do I say? It's like, no, like there's so many other variations through that. The same thing goes with results. So another really easy example, and these are just easy examples. There's a lot more of them if you was to sit down and think about it. But another easy example is if you start the ad off with the result, again, that acts as a call out. Because by the very nature of you saying this client went from X to, or this client who runs a type of company went from revenue to revenue in T time, you've got to ask yourself who's this going to resonate with? Who is this going to capture the attention of? It's going to be other people who are that business model at those revenue levels. So that's your call out. And again,
That makes a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just an example of the call out, right? So you've got the same exact thing throughout the entire ad, whether it be on results mechanism, that's a same exact idea. Even the results themselves, like I said, like I was using that as the call out example, but when it comes to quality, I think I said this the other day on a call somewhere or whatever. Maybe it was one of these calls, I can't remember. But anyway, quality is massively determined also by results. If you're trying to get guys above 100K a month, but all of your results are showing guys going from 50K a month to 200K a month, you're primarily going to get people around probably 20 to 50-ish K a month, no matter what industry you're in. But if all of a sudden you're able to get bigger results, and then you're able to now run ads to where you say, hey, we took this client from 100K a month to 600K a month. We took this client from 250K a month to whatever. All of a sudden, you're going to get, by default, a lot of people come through who are at 100K a month or 200K a month or 70K a month or whatever. And all you did there was change your results. It's because in that instance, like the people who resonate with it change, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think a good point I got out of this was just looking at it from outcome perspective while writing the copy.
Right.
So I'll keep that in mind. Like aside from like running as yourself, was there a framework you learned this from? Like, is there? I know you mentioned like great copy books in the group before, but like, is there like one which was just like exceedingly impactful, where it gives you more of the thinking frame rather than like the framework?
Yeah, Kyle Milligan, Take Their Money, gives you the thinking frame. And then the 60-word sales letter is a really good book on, I know I said I don't use frameworks, but it's a really good framework for a VSL. And even that, do you know what? Actually, no, scrap that. That also speaks to outcomes because that gives you the questions. If you've ever, in my VSL training, and I did a YouTube video not too long ago on this, and I referenced like questions you want to answer in your VSL, those questions are pulled from the 16-word sales letter. So they're like my two all-time copywriting books.
Okay, Take Their Money and 60 verses right out.
Yeah. They're my favorite though, precisely because of this. It speaks to outcomes. Not again the word for word scripts and shit. They die out. They don't work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had two more questions. I can if Jake wants to ask.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't see. Yeah, Jake, do you wanna go?
Yeah. So I've got another, so I just made me think. I've got another client. He's in the he's a buyer's agent. So like obviously like helps people buy homes and stuff like that. Now the problem with his market is it's obviously he's looking for people that are in the market to purchase a home. So it's like a little bit more like he needs like a very qualified person. We've been running his ads for a while and he's only doing $30 per day. We've spent like 750 bucks. And the problem with all the leads he's been getting are either looking to buy a home in the next like 6 to 12 months, or they're just like an unqualified lead, right? So I just wanted your advice on kind of what to do for somebody in that specific market. If there's any kind of like advice you have there.
Probably, I mean, the easiest thing would be Google, switching to that, which is a big change. But that'll, obviously you go from just random people to people searching, obviously the intent's much higher. So that's probably the easiest change. As for Facebook, if you wanted to stick with that, what's his cost on these leads right now?
Check. I think it's around 60.
Per lead?
Yeah.
Are you obviously asking the typical question of like, are you looking to buy a home yesterday?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. What's his offer? Do you have an offer?
Yeah. It's let me just double check. But it's along the lines of we will help you find a property within a duration. Let me just quickly grab it. Yes, we'll help you secure a high value property in 90 days.
We'll help you what? Sift through
We'll help you secure a high value property
or
within 90
secure.
days. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be better off if it was like, in so many words, we'll help you get your dream home in 90 days for a cheap, not a cheap price, but like, for cheaper, or like we'll help negotiate the best price possible for your dream home in the next 90 days or something like that, as opposed to secure a high value property? Because like who wants a high value property?
Because the market call out is investors. So I think obviously we talked
you're going after
about it.
investors,
Yeah, investors.
not like personal home.
No. So the majority of, well, obviously in the actual call out, it's investors, but we also have some ads where it's like, are you just looking to purchase a property? So obviously we've just been testing things to see what kind of hits. But
Well, that's
the original one was
reinforces my
owner
point.
occupiers or investors. That was the original one.
Yeah, you're gonna have to switch them up because if it's owner occupier, you're gonna have to speak to the dream home angle for sure. Will help you find your dream home and negotiate the best price possible, or something like that would work. And then if it's investors though, you need to really hit on like we'll, you know, help you. Again, wording you can figure out, but in so many words, we'll help you get the best investment possible, not secure
Yeah.
high value. That's completely misaligned in my opinion. You'd need to speak to, we'll help you find the best investment with the highest yield in the next 30 days or whatever it is. I also think saying the time frame on that in that case would also help people who are looking within the next 30 days. If you click an ad and the ad says we'll help you, in so many words, buy a home in the next 30 days, obviously that's naturally just going to speak to people who are looking or at least have the cash available. But yeah, I think that probably the offer is the biggest thing there, because that way, if you have a better ad just in general, I'm sure the rest of the ad probably could be improved based on that improved offer. Your cost per lead is going to drop a lot, and that way you basically then get the benefit of, yeah, you'll still get some people come through who are looking in the next 6 months or whatever, but you then can just cancel those guys off and not really worry too much about them because your costs are so cheap, and you obviously have more people who are ready to buy now.
Yeah. Okay. Easy. No, that makes sense actually. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll
Just
make
because,
those changes.
dude, it's the same thing with clients as with us, right? Like if you think about that offer, we'll help you secure a high value property. Like no one really wants to secure a high value property. If it's owner occupied, they want their dream house that they love and whatever else that's within budget or ideally below budget. And then obviously an investor, they want the highest yield possible. But high value, like no one really wants that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think we're taking the angle of almost like it's just like in the sense that it's an expensive property. Therefore, obviously, you're going to
Yeah.
get I don't know, a better return if you sell it. But in that case, obviously, you have to still have the capital to be able to afford a property at that price. So, nah, I see
Yeah,
where
but
you're
no
coming
matter how
from for
much money
sure.
you have, you never want to overpay for a property,
No, of course, yeah,
which
yeah.
high value and it's expensive and I get it, but at the same time, like I say, like no one wants to overpay.
No,
You know,
100%. Okay, cool. No, 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 sweet.
everyone wants the cheapest the, how do I explain this? They want the best price for the property that's at their level. So they don't want a cheap house. If they want a $10 million house, they want to try and get a $10 million house for 8 million. 8 million for a $10 million house is a great deal, but it's still expensive. You see what I mean? But they would still try and get it for 9 million or whatever. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Cool. Yeah, because we've just got like, bro, like he's like one out of like, I don't know, 25 clients we were like active with in terms of like for this month. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like these rare occasional clients that come through. And like we don't actually get them much anymore. Like we like ever since like the ads have been more kind of to schedule and just like the pre-qualifications more that we've obviously not been speaking to these kind of people anymore. So I think with like this kind of niche specific or just people in general that because we used to get a lot of realist people in real estate. Now I've actually put it on the form like if you're in
Yeah.
real estate, don't book in the call. It's just something that we used to get a lot. And we took on obviously one of them because he was like, no, I just want to move forward with it. Like, it's totally fine. Like, I don't even want to guarantee, just we'll do $30 a day. And I'm like, cool, we'll see how we can do it. And honestly, it's just like, it seems like it's more work on the back end of the fulfillment for the account manager too, than
Mm.
like a coach or an agency, right? So I'm honestly just like thinking, I mean, I think you guys do this, but you just like don't take them on, eh? Like you just wouldn't take on a client if they're just not a good fit, right?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. For that exact reason. It's always the
Yeah,
way.
no, I can see why, dude. Because it just creates more
Yeah.
complexity as well. Because it just becomes like when you talk to
Yeah,
your
it
account
does.
manager, the main conversation.
Yeah, because you should, and I'm sure you have, but like in general, you build a system for a certain type of person with a certain type of problem, um, and the inverse of that problem is that a specific outcome that they want, and so you build your entire system around that. If then somebody comes in, it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. That's exactly what it is. You're trying to like fucking squeeze it in and this and that. Yeah, they said they don't care about the guarantee and whatever else, but yeah, like you're now experiencing. You spend so much time trying to get the square peg in a round hole, and it just doesn't work. And if it does work, you have to like go completely out your way, and that ends up taking like probably 3 client slots or whatever. If you look at time spent versus um the one client, is probably worth 3 clients, but they're only paying you one time. You know what I mean? So it's just yeah. And
Yeah,
then you can
no,
imagine
yeah,
if you were signing 10 times more clients, and then you had 10 of these clients. Like imagine that then. Like the complexity is just so much for no gain.
yeah,
I guarantee you, put it this way, I guarantee you on this account, you'll be a net negative after you factor in all the time spent, resources spent, time spent in terms of, on calls talking about it and this and that. We're spending time right now, talking about it versus the amount he paid. I can almost promise you, you'll be a net negative.
yeah. That's actually spot
Yeah.
on, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. No, 100%, 100%. That's the thing, bro. Because like we've had so many affiliate marketers who come in the funnel, and it's just like,
Mm.
look, if they say it even out on the form, we just cancel the call. But I know 100% right, waste the time. Sweet, bro. No, that's pretty much it, bro. Honestly, I think everything else has been really good. But yeah, thanks, bro.
Cool. Sweet, dude. No worries. Krishnavi, you said you had some other questions?
Yeah, I just had a couple quick ones. Mind if I can quickly share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
So I think I had asked you with like a question around the opt-in emails a couple of weeks back, and I just updated it. I was wondering, so I went back through the recording, and you mentioned there's enough delay between the person on the booking page not booking in and you sending the email where it looks uh, personal. But since I'm following the new lead automation, which you already have inside, the way I structured the email out is, hey, just saw your details come through. I copied your subject line. I really liked it. Like it's a simple like your application, and just wanted to
Yeah,
double check if
it's a
you're
great
still
opening
interested.
rate that.
Yeah. So just wanted to double check if you're still interested in letting us train you on our AI appointment setting skills so you can earn 4 to 8K per month working remotely in the next 90 days, guaranteed. If so, let me know if these times work for you. There's the calendar, then there's a couple quick results, and there's again a calendar link here. So I was wondering, do you still suggest having a 2-minute wait here? I've not made any changes to the automation like wait times,
Yeah,
or would you
yeah,
increase
yeah, I
it?
would. Yeah, yeah. If anything, yeah, increase. I don't know what we have. I think ours is 5 minutes, or maybe it's like 6 minutes. So it's like an odd number. You know, if it's exactly 5 minutes, maybe some people will pick up on that. But if it's like 6 minutes, it's pretty hard to pick up. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we're either 4 or 6. I think we're a touch longer than 2.
Yeah, but doesn't it go against like the speed to lead culture with like the email?
Yeah, well, you got to remember the speed to lead is primarily for setters. So if
Hmm.
you know if this lead comes in, the speed to lead should be on setters, not necessarily the emails. But even so, I mean, four to
What?
six minutes is still fine.
Okay, and with setters we mean like you would suggest, since I'm going B2C, would that be in case I'm not able to call them within the 5 minutes? Because what usually happens is if a person does qualify, they often I have like strong like notices and text on the page telling people that if they are not currently employed, they should not book in. So I've had cases where I've cold called people, and a lot of cases now where, hey, we just saw the pay. I asked them like if they're interested. They mentioned they were about to book in, but they saw that it's not for employed people, so they did not book in. So it does sort of like self qualify the leads there itself. So oftentimes what I do is intentionally not call them within the first 5 minutes now, because that's the time they need to actually watch the video and usually book in. At least that's what I've seen on my side. So would you still suggest like sending a text message within the first 5 minutes? I just don't want to interrupt their flow while they're going through the funnel.
Yeah, I get it, but I would argue you would make more money if you just called them straight away,
Okay.
to be
Okay.
honest.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because you can always just, call them if they're mid watching the video.
Mhm.
Just that you could use that as your conversation starter. Oh, really? Awesome. How you find it so far? Any questions? Whatever. Right? Just start your conversation. And
Yeah.
then if you go through, you pre-qualify, you set them, you could just tell them, hey, make sure I know totally on me. I called you mid video, you are watching it. But please make sure you go back and finish that video before our call, just so that you're fully up to date on exactly XYZ. Go into your thing. So, you're not going to lose anything by calling them. And typically, as well, what can happen is what we find is if you call them and they're mid watching your video, they'll be like, "Oh, I was just watching the video." It's a very positive um, conversation. Let's say it's like, "Oh, I was just watching you on the video." It's like, "Yeah, that was me." So how you finding it? And then you just go into your thing.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. And secondly, I just wanted to check with you, like, I noticed you track your links. I know this is like a very basic tech stack question, but how do you track your link clicks from like different traffic sources? I don't know how I can create like separate links for the same funnel page. So let's say one for YouTube, one for Facebook. Like
Uh,
how do you do that?
we just duplicate the funnel, so we will have like 5 funnels or 4 funnels or whatever it is. One for ads, one for Instagram, one for YouTube. We have one for somewhere else and one for somewhere else. I can't remember the other two. But yeah, we just manually duplicate.
Do you do it with like the calendar link as well? Because while I was going through, the question popped up when I was going through your opt-in email recording, and I noticed you have like a separate link for people who book in from that email,
Yeah,
the opt-in email.
yes, but we have the same calendar, but the application is like I've got it on the screen right now. So it says like new application, and in brackets it will say like ads, and then the Instagram one will say Instagram, and the YouTube one will say YouTube. They all link back to the same calendar, so we just have one calendar. But that way, if the booking comes in and Kaibak's books, I'll then go back into the application Slack channel, search Kaibak's, and then see, oh, he was from Instagram. Great, and then we track it
Okay,
that
and
way
how
too.
did you create that link? How did you do it separately? I didn't get that.
We just duplicate the funnel inside of obviously we're in ClickFunnels, but inside of your funnel builder, we just literally duplicate the whole funnel. We have two funnels.
Okay, so for each traffic source, a separate funnel, just duplicate it, right?
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those were my questions. I'll keep you posted on how this goes. It's scary for me when I'm starting to spend a lot more, like in the beginning stages. But I'm like the last campaign performed well, so I'm hoping this one does well as well, and I can slowly 10x the spend as well, confidently. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, don't be nervous. You're doing great, dude. Anytime you get to a new level of spend, I always say this, even with us, like if I go to a new level of spend, you always get like not nerves necessarily, but you're like you're gonna watch it like a hawk in the next few days just because you're at a spend that you've never spent before. So it's very normal. But yeah, keep doing your thing, dude. You're definitely on the right track. This time around, though, just make sure that you don't turn it off. You stick with it. We, go through the sales stuff. You work through that, etc., etc. Like because like last time, you definitely turned it off too early, in my opinion. This time around, let's just make sure we stick to it. And as long as you do that, constantly tweaking, there's no way it won't work.
Okay, will do. The fact that you mentioned you still watch it like a hawk and you get the little nerves, it gives me relief that it happens to you as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
that
I
gives me
would
a
say,
little comfort.
yeah, I shouldn't have said nerves. I don't get nervous. I never get nervous
Yeah,
when
not really
uh,
nerves at your level,
yeah,
more of
I
like
just
you
watch
watch
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Like if I go to a new level of spend, the next day, or even if it's the morning of or whatever, I'll probably check the ad account because I'm still a full-time media buyer. Like I run all of our internal ads, for our own company.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'll probably check the ad account maybe 8 times that day, 5 to 8 times that day. Like constantly looking at it. So it's normal. It's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. We'll definitely keep you posted on how that goes. The fact that you clearly know what funnel and what offer I'm working with by this point, it gives me a lot more confidence when I'm asking you the questions as well. And I just want to make sure, like with all the value you have provided, I can actually make an ROI from it and now actually put that into work and get to a certain level, which I'm hoping to get. And I've tried in past, but it hasn't really worked out. So I'm hoping I
Right.
can just stick it out.
Right. 100%. You can definitely. 100%. If you get the same numbers as you had last time, like your numbers last time were good. Your cash hours
Yeah.
was decent from memory. Revenue hours was decent. Cost per call was good. Everything looked great last time. You just turned it off, right? So this time, let's just keep it on and slowly, like you said, increase spend.